So MSNBC and CNN, two reporters from their news organizations, decided to attack Facebook on Twitter earlier this evening or yesterday. I'm not sure the exact time frame on it, but they're very, very, very upset that Facebook is a free platform that allows multi-layered discussion and people from other sides that don't agree with them, most specifically InfoWars. The mainstream media hates InfoWars. If you guys don't know who InfoWars is, it's run by Alex Jones. It's a conspiracy theory website. Others could call it maybe a libertarian or right-wing website. Some would call it a nationalist website. I've seen Alex Jones throughout the year. He was a very firm protester of George W. Bush. So I wouldn't really say he's right-wing. Alex Jones is kind of in his own category. He just goes off, says what he wants to say, but CNN reporters and MSNBC reporters, they want him gone, they want him off, and they're like, Facebook, how dare you have him on your platform? You got to remove him. So what's the right decision to make? First off, I want to start by saying, I always tell people for a reason, I say, change yourself to change the world, excuse me. Focus within. If you want to do something great, you can't talk about Alex Jones, you can't talk about Elon Musk. You got to just focus within and be the best yourself that you can be. You got to be the best CNN you could be. You got to be the best MSNBC that you can be. But they don't do that. They're so constantly blaming Trump and blaming Alex Jones and blaming the internet and blaming Russia and blaming Facebook and blaming Twitter and blaming YouTube and blame. They've blamed their way down the ratings this week. They're lower than Nickelodeon and HGTV, Home Garden Television, which of course it is much more, I would say, mentally healing to watch plants grow rather than watch CNN and MSNBC. So I'm glad that people realize that cartoons and plants are a better source of entertainment than two of the mainstream media news sources that are billion-dollar corporations that have all sorts of resources and capabilities that most people don't have. They have so much more privileges that Alex Jones and myself and many other people don't have. But instead of focusing on all the things that they do have, they've made a living of basically just ranting and raving about everybody else and worrying about everyone else. So they've fallen down the ratings lower than Nickelodeon and HGTV. I just wanted to say that. And overall, I really mean it. If you really want your news sources to thrive and you want people to believe you, the first step is not to blame Alex Jones and InfoWars. The first step is to be more honest and more accurate than Alex Jones at InfoWars. Before I read their direct quotes and the direct back and forth between Facebook and these MSNBC and CNN reporters, I do want to say the mainstream media is so bad. CNN is so bad. MSNBC is so bad. ABC, New York Times, Washington Post are so bad. You made Alex Jones a viable option. You made Alex Jones a superstar. He didn't just make himself a superstar. It's the fact that you're so bad and dishonest. Someone could turn on InfoWars and believe him more than they believe you. That's nobody's fault but your own. I'm just being honest. You never look good when you put down somebody else. It always looks better to do your own news analysis. If I just made fun of people all day, what's the point? That's why I do my own news analysis. People are like, oh, normally if you hate the news so much, why don't you make your own news? That's what I'm doing. Overall, so it started with Oliver Darcy, a reporter from CNN. He tweeted, Facebook invited me to an event today where the company aimed to tout its commitment to fighting fake news and manipulation. I asked why InfoWars is still allowed on the platform. I didn't get a good answer. And he wrote a whole nice little CNN article. I'll read it again just in case you missed it. I'm going to sip on pineapple juice too because that's just a personal preference. Oliver Darcy on Twitter. Facebook invited me to an event today where the company aimed to tout its commitment to fighting fake news and manipulation. I asked why InfoWars is still allowed on the platform. I didn't get a good answer. So he is outraged and he did spacing to make it really emotional, like, I didn't get an answer. Well, first of all, commitment to fighting fake news and manipulation. Just personally, to be honest, I'm not trying to judge or be biased or anything. When I think fake news and manipulation, I think mainstream media, specifically CNN. Just like from a psychological standpoint, when I watch CNN for 20 minutes, I'm just like, oh my God, this is like garbage, toxic sludge to your brain. It's just like if I saw somebody with a packet of high fructose corn syrup, like literally just high fructose corn syrup and just eating it, I would think, oh my God, that's horrible for their body. Why are they eating so much high fructose corn syrup? Same thing with CNN and MSNBC. So I would think that the irony here and the hypocrisy here is just so overwhelming that they don't even get it. They're busy fighting fake news and manipulation instead of looking in a mirror. But they decided to call out Facebook and say, how dare you not delete InfoWars? Instead of just being better and more accurate and more trusted than InfoWars, they decide to try to remove them from the platform, because this is the modern day left, unfortunately. And this is coming from a lifelong left-leaning activist. I always wanted free speech, discussion, diversity, equality, protection of the environment. But I never thought the means to get that would be shutting down and censoring and closing off anybody who disagrees with me. Of course, no sane, rational, or honest, integrity-driven person would ever think that they need to delete people off of social media networks just so their point gets across. I wouldn't advocate to delete anybody. Leave them up. Let people see how fake they are. If Alex Jones is so bad, just put him on display, and his words should, speak for themselves. But once again, this is what CNN and MSNBC does. They're falling in the ratings. They're failing to Fox, to Nickelodeon, to HGTV, so they have to attack other people to try to drag other people down. And this is what psychopathic people do, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to really make it a big thing. I don't feel good when I call other people out, but a psychopath would say, instead of me getting to the top, I'm going to drag everybody else down so that I'm the king of the crown and I'm standing tall. You're not really standing tall if you drag everyone down. That's like a basic spiritual quote. You can find it on pretty much any spiritual Instagram page, but apparently they don't read those. So Facebook answered Oliver Darcy, and he said they actually had a really great answer. They said, we see pages on both the left and the right pumping out what they consider opinion or analysis, but others call it fake news. We believe banning these pages would be contrary to the basic principles of free speech. Wow. Congratulations, Facebook. Thank you. I mean, I never thought I'd hear those words come out of your mouth. I'll read it again just in case people missed it. We see pages on both the left and the right pumping out what they consider opinion or analysis, but others call fake news. We believe banning these pages would be contrary to the basic principles of free speech. There's a word you'll never hear that much, basic principles of free speech. They basically said, we could ban pages, but we don't know who to ban anymore. Facebook's being honest, like, dude, you say one thing, Alex Jones says the other thing, Anomaly says one thing, these people say Rachel Maddow says this. Like, what are we gonna ban everybody? Ban them, ban them, ban. We don't know. Like, is it opinion? Is it analysis? We don't even know as the consumer, because the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, and sometimes Fox and others, they report opinion like a fact. The biggest media outlets on the planet literally report opinions and anonymous reporting from people that we have no idea who they are, if they're even real or not. They put it in the title and they cause nationwide hysteria off of an opinion and unverified claim. So if you want to fight fake news organizations and you want to fight manipulation, you have to look in the mirror, Oliver Darcy. You have to look at CNN. You have to look at MSNBC. You could look at Fox News too. You have to look at New York Times. You have to look at Washington Post. Right-wing news organizations do it like Daily Caller too. They're just so, everybody wants to be right and everyone wants to just get their preconceived notions correct and be like, haha, I got them with an anonymous source. So Facebook cannot just start banning pages because you don't agree with it or you don't want to have a discussion about it. And that's what they said. So then NBC news reporter Ben Collins chimed in, and I don't have his whole quote here. I don't feel like reading it, but he was basically like, oh, Facebook is going to say that Alex Jones saying Pizzagate and Sandy Hook, that's equivalent to just free speech and contrary basic principles of free speech. So he called out Facebook and said, what's your deal? Like, oh, you think InfoWars is equivalent to what we do? And Facebook said, sorry you feel that way. Sorry you feel that way. The question we face is whether to ban a page for peddling information debunked by fact checkers or to demote it so fewer people see it. We've chosen the second. Understand you disagree. Thanks for your feedback. So there's something important there. Facebook admitted that they demote certain pages. So that's very alarming and interesting. They said, sorry you feel that way. Our question is, should we ban the page or should we just demote it so less people see it? What we've been doing is demoting it. So Facebook publicly just admitted that they've been throttling certain pages based on fact checkers. And I'm about to get into that. If you want something interesting, wait for my next analysis over the next 10 minutes. I got something to tell you about fact checkers But Tim Pool, aka Timcast on Twitter, he then retweeted and said, "Who's fact-checking the fact-checkers?" Which is a beautiful question. So this is just a whole mess of guilting, media manipulation, shame, and trying to once again corner social media outlets to throttle and ban certain pages instead of just being more accurate and honest to them. And it really, really frustrates me and bothers me because I don't really look that frustrated and bothered, to be honest. I'm not that concerned about it. But overall, these people have every privilege in the world. Facebook is already rigged in their favor. YouTube is already rigged in their favor. Google is already rigged in their favor. They have top news sections that are basically created on YouTube to rig the algorithm so Alex Jones or myself or Paul Joseph Watson or anybody else goes further down the search engine, even though they deserve to be at the top for the algorithm, and they put CNN and MSNBC at the top. And CNN and MSNBC are so distrusted and unpopular, even though they have a multi-billion-dollar organization where they're on television every single day. And people like Mark Dice, I'm just being honest, has more subscribers than MSNBC has, and he's working out of his kitchen, and they have billions of dollars more than he has, and they have literal television press. I mean, hello, clearly you're not doing something right. Every single day, you're blasted into millions of homes in the United States, and you still don't have as many followers as somebody working out of their kitchen, you know, in Southern California. It's just straight up pathetic. And they don't understand that. They don't want to get better. They don't want to learn. They don't want to switch up what they're doing. They just want to guilt Facebook into shutting down InfoWars and Alex Jones. And on that note, I want to say you can learn a lot from somebody. Someone said I'm cutting out, and it's messing with my stream, which would be very, very weird. We'll see what's happening. Video keeps lagging. Of course it is. Yeah, God forbid I mention what's really going on, then all of a sudden the stream starts going out. Alright, well, I'm just going to keep going and pretend like it's not going out. I don't know exactly what to do. Maybe I'll wait about 10-20 more seconds to see if it's buffering. Let me see. Is my Wi-Fi on? Yeah, shouldn't be buffering or anything. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So, you could tell a lot about... I hope it's not throttling this one now. I didn't say anything even remotely ridiculous, but... So you can learn a lot about somebody. Hopefully it's not buffering for a lot of people and some people can see it. You can learn a lot about somebody based on what they sell to their audience, based on what they expose their audience to. It's, you know, the highest form of integrity when it comes to a company. So I'm just going to start with InfoWars, MSNBC, and CNN. And you could throw in Fox News here too because they're a mainstream media outlet that does the same type of advertising. So who does InfoWars and Alex Jones? What do they sell to their audience? What products do they sell? Alex Jones sells water purifiers, so you can clean your water. Alex Jones sells, holistic pills and non-toxic, non-manufactured, vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. He sells all holistic stuff. He sells survival kits, camp kits. So all of his products that Alex Jones sells, regardless of how you feel about him or his media or his news, if you look at InfoWars and Alex Jones and what they sell to their audience, they sell all healthy products. Water purifiers, minerals, vitamins, survival kits, stuff that can benefit your life in a healthy way. He doesn't sell unhealthy products. There's not an unhealthy products on the InfoWars.com store. Look at MSNBC and CNN. What do they sell in their commercials? They sell unhealthy foods. They sell you all sorts of material objects like cars and clothes that you don't need, all sorts of consumerism, waste of money that is going to put you in debt. They sell pharmacy pills that have side effects of suicide. They say, are you depressed? Here's this pill that we're going to sell to you in the commercials. The side effects are blah, 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 20 million side effects and case of suicide. So they're selling you suicidal pharmacy pills in the commercials. They sell you all sorts of horrible, unhealthy food. It doesn't matter, Wendy's, McDonald's. Who's the highest bidder? Whoever's going to pay the most, they're going to get the money. So you can tell a lot about somebody, who they really are, based on what they sell to their audience. And that's one of the things that strikes me. I don't, Alex can get a little annoying with how he sells stuff, but he sells healthy products. CNN and MSNBC sell really not healthy products. I don't think they have any sort of integrity about what they will and won't sell. I think they just bid out to the highest bidder. Whoever pays them the most for commercials, they get on the commercials. Also, talking about fake news, I do want to say, I do think Alex Jones exaggerates a lot, and I do think sometimes, as somebody who does think that Alex Jones deserves a platform, I do think sometimes he goes off on a limb and says something that isn't true. One example I could think of recently that I was watching him, he said that Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson are pushing the atheist agenda. So Alex thinks that they're pushing the atheist agenda. I don't think it's true. Jordan Peterson is a Christian. He loves God. And Ben Shapiro is Jewish. You could say they're globalists. You could say they're sellouts. You could say they're the soft version of a conservative so that they can, like, you know, woo the media into conservatives without really telling them the full truth. All of those you could say, but to say that Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson are pushing the atheist agenda doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not advocating to take off Alex Jones's platform, because there's a lot of things that Alex Jones does talk about, although he may exaggerate and misstep sometimes, which the mainstream media has no problem calling him out. What they won't tell you is the dozens of times that Alex Jones is spot on correct. And I mean, he rants for like 2 hours. He kind of does free flow like I do here, except even more free sometimes. So he makes mistakes, but overall, he says a lot of things that are very true, and a lot of stuff that Alex Jones says are backed up by government documents that have been around since the 50s, 60s, 70s, and are available to the public. I'll give you one example real quick. Alex Jones forever has been saying that Hitler never died, that he took a submarine to Argentina, or took a submarine to South America. That seems insane, right? If someone was to tell you, like Alex Jones tells his people all the time, he says, Hitler didn't die, he went to South America. Sounds insane, except for the fact you find out that there's FBI declassified documents that are available to the public. If you search for them, you could find them in mainstream news publications and literally word for word in their own publications and their own documents, saying that J. Edgar Hoover was looking for Hitler in South America. So if Hitler died in Germany, why in the world would they be looking for him in South America? This is not, Alex Jones did not create this. They'd probably try to delete his video, demonetize it, and kick him off the platform. But it's a fact that J. Edgar Hoover was looking for Hitler in South America. Am I saying that Hitler escaped alive? I have no idea. I wasn't alive. I don't know who to believe anymore. But I do find it interesting that Alex Jones has been saying that for years. And then you find out last year that in, I believe, I don't know if it was Argentina or another South American country, this is mainstream news, they said they found the largest treasure trove of Nazi paraphernalia in South America. So it's like, wow, that really adds up to what J. Edgar Hoover and Alex Jones was saying. Overall, what I'm saying is the mainstream news, CNN and MSNBC, the reason that Alex Jones thrives so much is because he talks about things that they will never talk about. If you want Alex Jones to fail as a platform, you don't need to kick him out of Facebook and Twitter. You have to cover the things he covers in a more fair and honest way, so then he doesn't have a platform. But Alex Jones will forever have a platform. He is very loved among people of every race, religion, and gender worldwide. He's very, very famous and popular. It's because he'll touch 99% of these topics that the media will just be like, don't talk about it. And if you talk about it, we'll kick you out. So I don't agree with everything he says. I don't think every analysis he says, but he's actually analyzing it, whereas they just ignore it. So that's why people like him. And I do want to say as well, as far as the false flag theory, Alex Jones talks about false flags a lot. Ron Paul talks about false flags a lot. A lot of people talk about false flags a lot in the truther movement. It's a fact. We know now because of the JFK files that were released this year, largely in part thanks to President Trump, who pushed for them to be released as they tried to not declassify them. But we found out in the JFK files that the CIA was planning to destroy and blow up a boatload of Cubans or stage explosions in the Miami area to justify a takeover of Fidel Castro. And this is not my opinion. This is not my theory. This is in CBS. This is in mainstream publications that reported on the JFK files that our government was attempting to do false flags, real or simulated, admitting that they would either kill people or simulate killing people to justify a war. This is not Alex Jones saying this. This is not Anomaly saying this. This is in CBS Miami. You could Google it right now. CIA, Fidel Castro, false flags, CBS Miami. You'll find the exact article I'm talking about. That's CBS. That's mainstream news publications. So it is overall, I do want to say, and I have a lot more. Stay tuned. I have some of the best stuff coming up in a second. You can't just delete somebody off the platform because you think they're lying and you don't agree with it. If that was the case, a lot of people, more people probably than even that, would want CNN and MSNBC to get kicked off the platform because there's multiple reportings that CNN did that were completely fake and false. Here's an article from the Washington Post from last year. 3 CNN employees resigned over retracted story on Russia ties. So they pushed such a fake story that 3 of their employees had to remove themselves from the entire network. So are we going to kick you off of the platform because you've been telling fake Russia stories for a year and you admittedly told a fake Russia story and had to delete it? Or you said President Trump poured the fish water in before the Japanese guy and that's all wrong and you didn't show the edited footage? Or you push stories like he said Haiti was this type of country or called all Latinos animals? Are we going to kick you off of the platform because you don't explain it and you use anonymous sources and chopped up edited footage to get your point across, which most of the time is completely fake or inaccurate? Of course not. So I would say I don't think Alex Jones is perfect. I'm not co-signing everything he says, but check yourself before you wreck yourself. Change yourself to change the world. The reason Alex Jones is thriving and Fox News is thriving and CNN and MSNBC are going downwards is not because of Fox News and Alex Jones. It's because of their incompetency. I don't worry about what other people are doing very often. That's why I'm successful. If I was so busy trying to close down other platforms, then I would be a loser with no money and my platform would be failing. But instead, I'm getting more views on a lot of stuff than the mainstream media outlets, and they have the nerve to say campaigns that I'm a part of and I helped launch are Russian. That's how ignorant they are. These same news publications are saying, oh my God, the walkaway movement is Russian bots. No, it's not Russian bots. It was created by a gay hairdresser in New York City who's tired of you saying that everything that's Russian bots. The reason I won't watch your news network is because instead of having an intelligent analysis of both sides in the multi-layered argument, you say, oh no, that's Russian bots. Don't listen to it. There's no way that anyone could disagree with me. They must be a Nazi or a Russian. That's why I don't watch your news source. Has nothing to do with Alex Jones, has nothing to do with InfoWars, has nothing to do with Fox News, has nothing to do with Sean Hannity, has everything to do with CNN, and has everything to do with NBC. So the reason your news networks are not thriving is because you don't focus on yourself. You spend all your energy talking about other people, and you have like a narcissistic, psychopathic mentality of instead of learning and growing and adapting and evolving and realizing when you were wrong, you instead double down on the lies and try to fascistically control and censor every single social media and media platform, and you won't be satisfied drooling at the mouth until it's 100% left-leaning and there's no sort of intelligent discussion. That's why everywhere Jordan Peterson goes or Dave Rubin goes or Ben Shapiro goes, they get protested. Why are you protesting Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson's not even talking about politics 90% of the time, just like I'm trying not to talk about. It's basic fundamental psychology. He's a clinical psychologist with a Harvard degree who works for the University of Toronto. He doesn't care about your stupid fake politics. He cares about a mindset. He cares about a psychological analysis, and everything that you're teaching people is the exact opposite of what a clinical psychologist teaches. So why are you protesting him? He's not even trying to talk about politics. He's just talking about brainwashing people into having a failed ideology and taking a failed economic system and putting it in a country that's literally the most prosperous country in the modern era and is responsible for Africa and many other countries, escaping out of poverty over the last 30 years. So what are you protesting? Who are you trying to kick off? Focus on yourself. You're failing. You're losing on all platforms because you spend 95% of the time worrying about what Alex Jones is doing and 5% of the time worrying about what you're doing. Worry about yourself. On that note, I want to say, who are these fact checkers? Because this is very alarming to me, and if any Facebook employees are watching or they're trying to censor me, or they are, I don't think they are, because if they are censoring me, somebody needs to get me a gold medal, because I got 300, 400 million video views. So if I'm being censored and I'm getting hundreds of millions of video viewed, I already know these platforms are skewed against me, but at a certain point, you might as well just give me a CNN or MSNBC show. Put me on the network, I'll save the whole network. Put me on CNN or MSNBC, I'll have the #1 show on television. I'll beat out Fox News, but there's a catch. You gotta let me tell the truth, which is probably not gonna happen, so they'll never have me on the news network. But anyway, who are Snopes and who are PolitiFact? Who are these, networks, these fact checker websites that Facebook works for? Because Facebook says, if peddling information debunked by fact checkers, we demote the page. So who are these fact checkers, Facebook? Let's start with PolitiFact. Who is PolitiFact? Are they, unpolitically related? You could say that, but you can make the argument, and I'll allow you to because I believe in free speech and internet freedom. But I would say, doing a little bit of research, and by a little bit I mean 5 minutes, PolitiFact is doing events and gets funding from the Knight Foundation. And the Knight Foundation is also politically tied to, very big politicians. They, who will not be named, have had several events with the Knight Foundation. So it seems to me, off of just 5 minutes of research, that PolitiFact is tied to one side of the political debate and really not there to be the unbiased fact checker. Like, they're in the middle and they're just seeking truth. A lot of the articles that I read prove that. It looks more like a PR team. When I read it, it doesn't read like this person's in the middle and they just want to decipher right from wrong. It reads like they're a Democratic Party PR team and that they're basically trying to, masquerade themselves as fact check organizations, but really just be a public relations team for certain politicians. On that note, I want to say something positive about the Knight Foundation, because I don't like to hate too much. The Knight and Gallup, which is one of the most famous polling places, did a recent poll on Americans, and I'm very hesitant and suspicious of any polls, but I'm going to read the results anyway. 44% found the news inaccurate. 64% found social media inaccurate. 64% of Americans said that they think the television, newspapers, and radios are biased. 80% of Americans said that social media is biased. 8 out of 10 are angry or bothered by the bias. 9 out of 10 are angered or bothered by the inaccuracy. So this is your poll. This is the own poll of Knight Foundation. 44% of people think that news and radio is inaccurate, and 62% of people think television and radio and newspapers are biased. So a majority of Americans either think that the news is inaccurate or biased. That's not Alex Jones's fault. That's not InfoWars' fault. That's not Facebook's fault. That's not Twitter's fault. That's not YouTube's fault. There is a distrust in the media in the United States. How do you gain trust? How do you gain trust back? Do you do it by saying that everybody's a Russian bot who doesn't agree with you? No, that's not how you gain trust. That's how you lose trust. That's how you lose to a socialist in New York City, have a lifelong, the leader of the House Democrats in New York loses to a 28-year-old bartending socialist. That's how you do it, by losing the trust of the left and the right. You can't just call everyone a Russian bot who disagrees with you. Anyway, so that's PolitiFact. Are they completely fair and accurate as a fact checker? I'm not convinced so, but Facebook apparently is so convinced so that they're willing to throttle and demote different news organizations based off these fact checkers. And who is Snopes? Besides their very questionable past and history of how they were formed and who owns them, who operates them, and who he allows on the network. I won't even get into that. That's some personal stuff you can look up if you would like. I have a whole video on it. But is Snopes a fact checker? Is Snopes the leader of truth? Is Snopes so honest and accurate that if somebody disagrees with Snopes on something, that you then delete and throttle their Facebook video? Is that what you should do? Well, I don't think so, and I'm going to tell you why, and I bet you this will make a lot more sense than a lot of people who are just trying to censor everybody who disagrees with them. So this is one of the articles that I always reference from Snopes that kind of proves that it's not so much a fact checker in my personal analysis. Yours could be different. I don't care. I could care less if you disagree with me. They seem more like a PR team because they masquerade and like flip questions in a way that make it not the question that people are asking. So I'll give you a perfect example. Snopes has a very famous article that says, did Hillary Clinton give 20% of United States uranium to Russia in exchange for Clinton Foundation donations? And they said false. So if you read this article, you would be like, you might think, man, the United States never gave uranium to Russia. That's a lie. Anomaly's lying. The news is lying. The United States never sold uranium to Russia. No, it's true. The United States did sell uranium to Russia. It's completely true. But Snopes said that, did Hillary Clinton give 20% of the United States uranium to Russia in exchange for Clinton Foundation donations? They said false. So if you read this, you would think it's not true whatsoever. Oh no, it's been debunked. Snopes debunked it. So if anybody says otherwise, they need to be taken down off Facebook or Twitter. But if you actually read the article, similar to CNN or the Washington Post, the truth is actually in the bulk of the article, not in the rating that they gave. So Why did they say that it's false? Here's their evidence for why it's false. This is Snopes. This is not Anomaly. It's not Alex Jones. This is Snopes. They said, first off, the deal wasn't hers to approve. So did she sign off on it? Yeah, she signed off on it, but it wasn't just her deal. She was only one of 9 board members or chairwomen to sign off on it. So that's their idea of debunking something. They say, no. She wasn't the only one who did it. She's just one of 9 people who signed off on it. I mean, she couldn't have done that. So it's like, does that disprove it? Well, no. I would say not even close. Then we'll move on to their next bullet point. They must have some more really gripping proof that it never happened. Well, actually, no. It just gets more pathetic as you go down. The second one, they said, there's no evidence that the uranium went to Russia. So they're trying to justify it by saying, no. She didn't, and the United States didn't sell uranium to Russia because they bought the uranium, but there's no evidence that the uranium went to Russia. They bought U.S. uranium, but it might still be in the United States. All evidence proves that it's there, and we're not sure if it's even here or not. So does that disprove that she sold the United States uranium to Russia? Of course not. It doesn't even remotely disprove it. It sounds like a pathological liar trying to explain how they're doing something. You're like, hey, did you lose $50 to that person? You're like, God, no, I didn't technically lose the money because I didn't pay them yet. I'm holding on to it. It's in my bank, but it's going to get transferred to their bank eventually. But, we didn't transfer it yet, so technically I have the money still. I mean, it sounds like a pathological liar trying to make excuses for why something didn't happen that clearly happened. So the 2 reasons they gave were, oh, no, it wasn't hers to approve. It was only one of 9 people to approve it. Oh, great, that doesn't debunk anything. Oh, there's no evidence that the uranium even went to Russia. They bought it and just left it there. So it's like they don't even have it. Oh, that's really convincing. Wow, that's Snopes. The third one is the timing of most of the donations don't match. So does that disprove anything? Of course not, because they said the timing of most donations doesn't match. Does the timing of all donations not match? No, they admit that some of them match, but not all of them match. And this could be debated, not by myself, because to be honest, I don't really care about it enough. It doesn't affect my daily life. And whatever, sell uranium, don't sell uranium, sell the country out, don't sell the country out, make hundreds of millions of dollars, don't make hundreds of millions of dollars. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to do that much deep diving research on it. I'm just reading Snopes. So they said the timing of the donations don't match, but there's documentaries such as Clinton Cash, and there's also New York Times articles that say otherwise. Is Snopes lying, or is New York Times and Clinton Cash lying? I don't know. I'm not here to tell you who's telling the truth or not, but I'll be honest, the Clinton Cash documentary and the New York Times article is a lot more convincing and a lot more descriptive than this, saying that they don't match up. So it's like, they say that with a paragraph, and there's a 2-hour documentary saying otherwise, and there's a multi-layered New York Times article. And just to be honest, New York Times is pro-left-leaning. New York Times is pro-Democratic Party. They're very, very biased in favor of the Democratic Party, and they're the ones that are disagreeing with Snopes. Are you going to take New York Times down because they disagree with the Snopes article and they say that she did sell the uranium to Russia? I mean, you could search the article yourself. This is how Looney Tunes Snopes is. So no, it wasn't hers to approve. No, the uranium never left the United States. It's still here, maybe, possibly, we don't know. Timing of most donations don't match. And the fourth reason that they give for why she didn't sell the uranium is probably the most laughable and embarrassing of all. It says, the foundation admits to disclosure mistakes. So, I mean, this sounds like a parody. It sounds like I'm reading The Onion or Clickhole, which now the Washington Post knows is fake news. Yesterday, the Washington Post thought Clickhole was a real news organization. Today, they realize it's made by The Onion. But the fourth reason that they gave for why the uranium wasn't sold was, the foundation, they admitted to mistakes. Come on. How are you going to say otherwise? They said sorry. They said sorry. The uranium's in the United States. Russia didn't even take it yet, even though they bought it and they own it. It's not leaving there. And, it's just like there's no evidence that it left. Like it sounds like a PR team. This doesn't read like a fact checker. This reads like somebody who's trying to make you believe that the United States didn't sell the uranium to Russia and that nobody benefited off it. Is it true? Is it not true? I'm not here to tell you the truth. I don't own the truth. I don't know the truth. I wasn't there. But this is Snopes. So how are they going to be the all-bearers of truth when their article doesn't even scratch the surface of like 1/80th of the complex issue that they're trying to say is 100% false? Makes absolutely no sense, but this is who Facebook wants to partner with. But CNN and MSNBC, that's not enough. They say further, delete. No, you can't just delete everybody that you don't agree with. I get it. Alex Jones is kind of cray-cray. But, he definitely gets a little weird or wacky sometimes. But, it is what it is. Just disprove him with an analysis. Explain why he's wrong. But this is what they do. This is their problem. I don't do it, but if I was going to explain why Alex Jones is wrong, I would make an article, and I don't do that because I support Alex Jones because overall, although he makes mistakes, although he's done some wild stuff, I think overall he's a healthy person for the debate. He does some crazy stuff sometimes that I don't agree with, but he's talking about a lot of stuff that no one talks to. If he calls himself the tip of the spear, it's true. He's the most radical one in that element, and he's the tip of the spear. If they take Alex Jones down, what's going to stop them from taking other people down? So in that way, he's a revolutionary, and he's been calling out George Bush since 1999 and whatnot. So I respect him for that. Going against Republicans before even CNN went against Republicans. You could say he's more revolutionary than even modern day leftists. But anyway, overall, who are these fact checkers? And that's who they are. On that note, I do want to say there's another really funny Snopes article I wanted to read before I go. And this one is, did Hillary Clinton tell FBI's Mueller to deliver uranium to Russia in 2009 secret tarmac meeting? So, if you guys don't know, there is I wouldn't even say a rumor, I guess, you could say a fact or opinion or analysis, whatever, that Robert Mueller, the leader of the Mueller Council to take down Trump for foreign collusion, was himself delivering uranium to Russia on a tarmac when the United States sold 20% of the United States uranium, and possibly there were hundreds of millions of dollars in backdoor deals. I don't know if that part's true or not. New York Times says it is true. Clinton Cash says it is true. Snopes says it's not true. But wouldn't that be something if the leader of the investigation of Truth and Justice for foreign collusion was handing uranium to Russia on a tarmac? So, did Hillary Clinton tell FBI's Mueller to deliver uranium to Russia in 2009 secret tarmac meeting? Snopes had to have said this was false, right? No, actually they didn't. This is so not false that they said it was a mixture. So even Snopes is admitting that it's not false to say that Robert Mueller himself delivered uranium on a tarmac to Russia. You can't make this stuff up, folks. They think they're fighting Russian collusion, but he's literally on a tarmac handing uranium to them. And Snopes says, yeah, that's a mixture. I mean, what the heck? Overall, I think news outlets need to get better. What I was saying before was, if you want to debunk Alex Jones, here's how you can do it. And I'm not saying that you should do it or go attack Alex Jones. I don't think you should do that. But you could debunk him by saying, here's what Alex Jones said. Here's why it's false. Here's my evidence to tell you that what I'm saying is true and what he's saying is false. They don't do that. Even when they're trying to debunk something that Alex Jones says, here's how they do it. CNN and MSNBC and all the late night hosts, they say, Alex Jones said this. You're not even allowed to say that. How dare you even say that? Women, children, parents crying. Look at all the kids crying. Look at them crying and lying and crying. And oh my goodness, they're going to sue. And we're suing. We sued Alex Jones because he said that Chobani yogurt is made by a bunch of rapists. We sued him. He's crying, and there's women and children crying, and you can't say that. We got to delete his page. That's like a psychopathic argument. I'm sorry. Half the time, even if I agree with what you're saying, that type of presentation makes no sense. You're not going to win a bunch of Alex Jones supporters over like, oh man, they've really told him. Like, Alex Jones had a multi-layered hour version of why he thinks the way he thinks and showed government documents and, historical sightings to why he thinks that way. And CNN and MSNBC said women and children are crying and kids are dying, so you're not allowed to say that. I'm not saying it's not I would never say something when people's lives were at risk. I would never make a grandiose claim that I wasn't sure of. That's why I tell people to think for themselves. I have no idea what happened half the time, so I'm not going to claim that I do when I don't know. That's something that I don't do. That's why I don't get sued, and that's why nobody gets really that mad at me overall. But Alex Jones does that. But I'm just saying, you could sue him if you want. That's your right. But if you really want to convince me and millions of other people who don't believe you and tend to think that Alex Jones is more accurate than CNN and MSNBC, I'm just going to be honest. I'll watch Alex Jones 100 times before I watch CNN and MSNBC. Do I think Alex is perfect? No. Do I think he exaggerates and lies sometimes? Totally. But do I think he's more accurate than them? For sure, because he actually says stuff that makes sense sometimes. And CNN is just like, look at this kid crying. How dare you disagree with me because the parent's mad? It's like, that's great, but that's all emotion. There's no logic or no analysis behind that argument. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm not saying that it is right. But what I'm saying is it's not a convincing argument. It's why you're falling lower than Nickelodeon and homegrown television or house garden television, whatever the heck it is. It's not my fault. It's not Alex Jones's fault. No one believes you. You have multiple retracted articles. You have multiple people who had to get fired, or literally you had, Donna Brazile, who was fired for leaking debate questions. You had 3 people had to step down over fake Russia collusion narratives. And then you do basically, you don't condemn it half the time. The only honest thing I've ever seen in the last week was Wolf Blitzer finally admitting the Strzok Page texts were actually damning. It was like, what? Their ratings must have fallen so far that they're like, all right, we need to pivot a little bit. That's what you need to do. I'm just going to wrap it up on the same theme that I pretty much say every single time in every single video because it's really the truth and core. You have to do what you want to do. You can't constantly attack others and make yourself look good. This is what the Democratic Party does. This is what the media does. It's their number one strategy. It's why they lost the election with $2 billion, $1 billion more than Donald Trump and billions of dollars more than Bernie Sanders and any other candidate. It's why they're losing in the ratings. It's why they're losing everywhere. You don't look good talking about somebody else. If you're the Cleveland, this is the most basic way I could put it. It sounds childish, but it's true. If you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're never going to beat the Golden State Warriors by saying, look how bad they are. Look how horrible they are. We need to kick them off Facebook. We need to kick them off the news. They're not allowed to talk. That's never going to help you win the game. You need to focus on your team, media and Democratic Party. Focus on you. You're collapsing. You're failing. It has nothing to do with Russian bots. Russian bots didn't make the walkaway movement. Russian bots didn't vote for Donald Trump. Russian bots didn't vote for Bernie Sanders. Human beings, United States citizens who don't like you, who don't trust you, who have no reason to trust you, who have no reason to believe you. You've given them no reason or no option to even believe you unless they're so far indoctrinated. You can't just call everyone Russian bots and blame everyone. You have to pivot. You have to look at yourself, your team. What did we do wrong? What did I do wrong? I could make a whole video that's 20 minutes long and tell you everything that you did wrong, and probably they're taking notes. I already know that some people from their organization are following me and asking me questions. You're probably taking notes, being like, maybe we should listen to Anomaly so we can win an election. You should do that. Take notes, listen to everything I'm saying, write everything down, and then you might be able to win an election. I'm not hating, I'm not trying to be mean, but nothing that you did was right or accurate or fair or honest or made sense. It was a terrible campaign, front to bottom, horrible strategy, horrible execution. Every part of it was terrible. So you're never going to be better than Alex Jones. You're never going to make Alex Jones go away by trying to remove his platform. Every time you try to take somebody away, it's a law of the universe. They come back times 10. You try to ban Milo off Twitter, ban him, you make his book a #1 seller. You try to attack Jordan Peterson, you make his book a #1 Amazon seller. You try to attack InfoWars, you make them stronger and more powerful than ever. Nobody cared about InfoWars. I'm not saying nobody cared about them, but 2-3 years ago, before Trump came around, nobody was really paying attention to InfoWars, probably like half of the people. And I'm not saying nobody, because Alex Jones has been very successful since the 1990s, but they've doubled or tripled in popularity over the last couple of years, a large part because you keep attacking them and you keep doing hit pieces on them and you keep giving them promotion, yet providing no sort of clear path reason why you're better than them. I watch Stephen Colbert make fun of him. I watch every single hit piece on Alex Jones, and then I watch the Alex Jones show. And 10 times out of 10, I prefer the Alex Jones show over your hit pieces and your terrible analysis. It's not because Alex is perfect. It's just because you spend so much time hating and blaming Americans and hating white people and hating black people who don't agree with you and hating Latino people who don't agree with you and hating Republicans and hating conservatives and tackling Rand Paul and, saying all this stuff, calling everyone fake news, that you don't focus on yourself. I'm always trying to level up myself. You guys have been escalating down. So leave Alex Jones alone. Leave InfoWars alone. don't delete them. It's not going to work. It's not going to make them go away. It's just going to make them more powerful and stronger. If you want to beat InfoWars and Alex Jones, you have to be more honest, more accurate, and consistently gain people's trust, more so than Alex Jones. And overall, to Facebook, if there's any Facebook employees watching this, highly doubtful, but I'm sure at some point they'll see it. Make sure if you throttle people like myself or others based on fact checkers, make sure you know who those fact checkers are. Make sure you know who Snopes is. Make sure you know who PolitiFact is. Make sure you have intelligent and honest people doing an analysis of what type of work they do and if they're really central or if they tend to be left-leaning and, work as a public relations team on certain topics and issues, because that's what I see. And even the Snopes article that I found that I just basically analyzed more accurately than probably the mainstream media has ever done. Give me a show, I'll be #1 on any network. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying that's how much better and more believable my analysis is. But they are totally even differing from the New York Times. So you have your biggest fact checker news organization with one of your favorite mainstream media news organizations, and they don't even agree. The New York Times is conflicting with Snopes, so which one's right? Who are you going to ban? Who's fact checking the fact checkers? So overall, I'm glad that Facebook is standing up for free speech. I'm not glad that they've admitted that they're throttling certain pages based on fact checkers, but overall, this is life. God bless CNN. God bless New York Times, God bless Alex Jones, and God bless everybody, everywhere, every victim of every tragedy that's ever been affected by terrible things that Alex Jones has said, or anybody. I do think that people make mistakes and they're very reckless. But just to wrap it up, if I spent all my hours hating on Alex Jones, then I wouldn't be myself. I appreciate what he does. I appreciate what CNN does. I appreciate what MSNBC does, but I'm focused on what Anomaly's doing, because that's why I'm successful, because it's not my job to doctor what they're doing. It's my job to focus on myself. So that's what CNN should be doing. That's what MSNBC should be doing. I think it would help them out a lot. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to support my news analysis, pinned to the top, I have DonorBox and Patreon. Different platforms. DonorBox is a one-time thing. Patreon is monthly. I appreciate everybody that's supporting on there. Such a blessing. I'm going to sign my free email list. If you'd like to sign up to my free email list, please do. Check the comments in like 1 minute or 2 minutes. It's going to be there. It's free. Please sign up. Overall, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll have a new video on Monday morning. And if you would like, check out, I have a Snopes and PolitiFact video. You could probably search Anomaly Snopes PolitiFact on YouTube or try to find it on my videos. It'll be hard here. I have a bunch. But thank you guys for listening. Have a good week. And you already know what it is. I'll be back.